The client came to us along with a number of other architects, and it was a very simple brief in the first instance. It was just to provide a gross area of 9,000 square metres of sellable apartments. There was a height limit on the site which we had to work within, and the site itself provided a challenge to meeting that requirement.
We wanted to create luxurious and spacious type apartments. We also wanted to just introduce a mix of tones and textures, so we showed that through our materiality and finishes.
The scheme itself had limited amenity within. We didn't provide a gym or a pool. A lot of those facilities are provided within the Doncaster Hill precinct. The development itself wanted to emphasise the amenity that we could provide on that site. The site is on Doncaster Hill. It's an elevated site with fantastic views to the city, which is its principal, if you like, advantage from a residential point of view. It's great views to the city, but not only to the city, also to the east and to the north and even to the south, back down to Box Hill. It's quite so they're all attractive views in all directions. The location was also at the entry to Doncaster Hill precinct, and in that way also became a gateway project. So we used those features to inform the design and to respond to the site. Given that it was at the top of a hill, how you treat a building that sits on top of a hill, normally you'd set it just below the top of the hill so that it sits within the landscape. In this case, the building was on top of the hill and was a significant form, being 9 stories high. So how we then sculpted the building in relation to that so that it would sit as an object on the hillside in relation to that, as well as the neighbouring housing, which is only 1 and 2 story around that area. So they were the principal challenges of how to sculpt a form that worked with the site and the adjoining properties.
The interior design had quite a few points of difference. We tried to create spaces that were much larger than the average apartment. We also wanted to maximise on that space by custom designing dining tables and then also little study nooks. So again, in turn, just creating more flexibility for the owner occupier. The design impacts the residents positively by giving them larger living spaces. They're also getting this timeless materiality in terms of their joinery and finishes, and then also really user-friendly spaces.
So the design response of the building, as I said, in relation to the site and its positioning on top of the building, of the hill, also related to how we wanted to market the building and the development. We said before there was a requirement to provide 9,000 square metres of sellable area for the client, but it wasn't just to provide that sellable area. It had to also meet an aspiration and be a design that people would want to purchase. And part of the reason for sculpting the form and having a series of step forms was to provide more large terraces so that could, in a way, become, rather than having a penthouse is normally at the top of the building, in this case we could have penthouses right through from level 3 to level 9. So each of those apartments would have very generous landscaped garden terraces which had views to the city as well as to the north that I've also explained earlier. Collaboration amongst the team contributed really to a successful outcome. Having part of that team understanding construction, how they were going to market the project to ensure that there was an efficient delivery. In many ways it was more successful than we perhaps originally envisaged.